Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. It is Thursday morning. I hope you're all well wherever you're watching or listening to this episode of Inside Arsenal around the world. And I'm sure you are all okay because last night was a very, very special night at the Arsenal. 4-0 winners on their return to the Champions League after 6 long years. PSV blown away by Mikel Arteta's side in ridiculously stormy conditions in North London. What a night. We've been waiting so long for a night like that and for it to come around and Arsenal to perform the way they did, to score the goals the way they did. It was just really, really special. And yeah, I don't think we could have really asked for anything more, could we? I did wonder in the build up to this, about the players and the occasion and, could PSV come here and catch them on not on an off day, but give them a bit of a sucker punch early on and suck the life out of the game. And yeah, all those negative thoughts were running through my mind in the build up to this one. Would Arsenal just get a little bit too caught up in the occasion? But they didn't. They fed off it, and it was just a really vibrant, excellent night, which kind of showcased exactly what this young team that Mikel Arteta has built is all about. And yeah, it was a fantastic return. Something I think, even, I don't know, going into it, if we were all kind of expecting or hoping for a really, really great night, I'm not sure any of us would have kind of called it the way it went. It was just everything went perfectly. It allowed Mikel to be able to make changes after 60 minutes to give everyone, get minutes into players who hadn't played. Now, Smith Rowe came on, for example, which was fantastic. That huge ovation he got. And with the game against Tottenham on Sunday, it just all went perfectly. Like I said, you could take off Jesus, you could take off Saka, you could take off Trossard, you could just give everyone a little bit of a breather. It wasn't that real high intensity night because Arsenal got the job done in the first half. And just a fantastic, fantastic game. I mean, the first half was just really, really special to fly out of the blocks the way they did. Bukayo Saka scoring the first. Leandro Trossard, what a player Trossard is, scoring the second. Gabriel Jesus, who was fantastic all night, scoring the third. PSV had no real answer. They did look a threat at times on the break, I thought, PSV. But they didn't really test David Raya. As a couple of efforts that Raya comfortably saved. But Arsenal were just so clinical in attack. From the moment that Saka scored that goal from Odegaard's shot that was sort of palmed out into his path and he scored that goal, they only really looked like being one winner. And the second goal was quality. The breakaway by Saka, the perfect pass to finish from Trossard, absolute class. And then Gabriel Jesus, who thoroughly deserved his goal. Could have scored before that, had a couple of efforts saved. But then the goal, the finish, the touch at the start of the move that a lot of people sort of glossed over and haven't really noticed. A bit of quality and technique that he showed at the start of that move was just fantastic. And then the ball eventually got played out to Trossard, who took his time, picked Jesus out. And then again, the touch and the finish, it was all perfect. And it just gave Arsenal that room to be able to sort of cruise through the second half in second gear, really. They still, of course, went and added on another goal through Martin Odegaard. Who else? Just a brilliant finish. Well, there really can't be many attacking midfielders in world football now who's got the quality that Odegaard has in and around the penalty area when it comes to striking a football and his finishing. He just finds the bottom corner. His finishing is so good. You think of where he's come from where he arrived when he was obviously a talented player, but we were all saying he needs to score more goals. He needs to be able to add more goals to his game, to what he's delivering now on a weekly basis, the type of goals he's scoring, the amount of goals he's scoring, the finishes. Yeah, he's just right up there in the very higher echelons of players in Europe right now, in terms of not just being a quality playmaker, but being a goal scoring midfielder as well. And he's still so young, which is the most exciting thing. It was a lovely finish from Odegaard to make it 4. And that just put the gloss on what was a fantastic night for Arsenal. There's not much more you can really say when you describe it. I mean, it was a pretty dominant performance from Arteta's side. 18 shots, 12 for PSV. Like I said, they did have their moments, PSV. I thought Arsenal, there were times maybe when they're a little bit open and PSV got at them down the sides, created a couple of half opportunities that Raya comfortably dealt with. I mean, they only had 4 shots on target. Arsenal had 8. Arsenal dominated possession, as you would expect, 60% to 40, basically. Pass accuracy was higher. It was just a really comfortable performance, and you could see what it meant to everyone afterwards, what it meant to everyone before, the noise, the atmosphere, the electricity, the anthem. A really special night. And this is what Mikel Arteta had to say about it. it was a beautiful night. Obviously, after such a long time, we wanted to produce the right performance to try to win the game. It was great to see the atmosphere, the Champions League music. Everyone was getting a bit emotional before it. And we showed, especially in both boxes today, we were exceptional. And that was the difference in the game, I think. He was then asked about the fact that the Tottenham game's coming up on Sunday and how pleasing it was to be able to sort of score goals early and be able to save players. And he said, yes, well, we could manage the minutes of some of them, especially because of where they were coming from and with the national teams where they played a lot of minutes as well. To give players minutes was fully deserved. I was really emotional when I saw the reception for Emil as well. He's a player that hasn't played much yet. To get the reception that he got was well deserved. And I'm so happy for him. And that was a really nice moment when Emil got up and the whole crowd saw he was coming on. And it's just a huge cheer. And it just tells the story about how Emil is thought of by the Arsenal fans. He is one of Arsenal. He is Arsenal. He's come through, and that's why he gets the reception he deserves. And I think it's also a very telling sign that Arsenal fans want to see a fair bit more of Emil Smith-Rowe over the coming months, and hopefully, I thought the subs made a big difference in the second half. It breathed a new bit of life into Arsenal. I thought Reece Nelson was really, really good when he came on. Emil Vieira, who just looks an absolutely different player. The difference in Fabio Vieira is unbelievable. You can just see how hungry he is. He wants the ball. He goes chasing the ball. And when you compare that to the final couple of months last season, when he was basically, in my view, hiding at times on the pitch, he didn't want the ball. When he got it, he was giving it away straight away. He just wanted to get rid of it. Just clearly a player with zero confidence. And now you look at him, as soon as he comes on the pitch, he wants to dictate things. He wants to get involved, and he wants to show his quality. He just looks a completely different player. And that's fantastic to see. And yeah, I thought all three of them, again, it was just a real sort of highlight. It highlighted the strength and depth that Mikel's got and the ability he has now to put players on who can change the games and who can, if players are tiring, can come on and breathe new life into a game. And I thought the subs did that really, really well yesterday. Martin Odegaard, man of the match. He got his trophy. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see him there with his player of the match trophy. You can see on the right stats from Squawka that they put up in terms of his game by numbers. 82 touches, a joint most. 64 passes completed, the most. 11 final third entries, the most. 5 duels won. 3 out of 3 take-ons completed. 3 shots on target. 2 fouls won, 1 goal. XG of 0.31. Look at that. 3 shots on target. He's so clinical right now. As I said, I just don't think there's much better player in Europe, really, than Martin Odegaard in terms of his position and what he offers the team. He's just transforming he has transformed over the past 12 months into this real elite attacking midfielder, and he's still going to get better. And, when this new contract signed, which hopefully it will be pretty soon, it's just fantastic that Arsenal are going to have a player like him added to Saka and Martinelli and everyone else just for years to come. And they are the lifeblood of this new Arsenal team. To see them performing on the Champions League stage last night was really, really good. Martin Odegaard was speaking afterwards, was talking about how much of a special occasion it was. Said we were really pumped, really eager to show a big performance. The atmosphere was unreal. These are the days you dream about as a kid. I think it was a great start, and it was a great start. No one's going to get carried away. It's 1 win out of 1, but as I said in yesterday's show, it was so important to start with a win because away games are so difficult in the Champions League. It's so hard to go away and win. Arsenal are going to have to go to Lens in the next game, who, although they're bottom of the French league right now, but they went to Sevilla yesterday and got a really good point. And the atmosphere at Lens, trust me, is going to be off the scale in that game. Their first game back in the Champions League for about 20 odd years. And, their fans are crazy. It's so passionate over there, all in their yellow and red, and the atmosphere that night is going to be hostile, to say the least. It's going to be a really, really difficult evening for Arsenal. So they needed to get off to a good start yesterday, and to do that the way they did against the PSV side, who hadn't lost a game this season. I think they hadn't lost in about 25 games in all competitions going into last night. So there were no pushovers by any means. So for Arsenal to blitz them like they did was really, really impressive. And Martin Odegaard absolutely front and central when it comes to all of that. I thought if you're watching on YouTube, this Bukayo Saka put a tweet out last night saying, "A night I will never forget. Champions League debut, Champions League goal, 3 points, back where we belong." I thought it was so fitting that Bukayo Saka scored the first goal for Arsenal back in the Champions League after so long out. if I could have picked one player to score the goal, it would have been Bukayo Saka because of what he represents to this Arsenal team. This is a kid who, as a teenager, came through and basically picked this club up off its knees, obviously with the help of Mikel and everyone else who was sort of spearheading this revival that we've seen. But in terms of the players' point of view, Saka came in, Arteta turned to Saka and Smith Rowe when Arsenal were pretty much at rock bottom. He trusted in them. He put them in the starting lineup and said, right, you're the players who are going to turn things around. And Saka, more than anyone, has done that and has just flourished into this world superstar in front of our very eyes over the last 3 or 4 years. And so for him, who's played such a huge role in getting Arsenal to where they are and turning things around, I thought it was so fitting that he scored that first goal last night. I couldn't have picked anyone better to get it. And, he was quality again. I've seen lots of talk about Saka this season. Is he playing well enough? Does he need a rest? But he's still producing week in, week out. Even you go back to the last couple of games, Everton, people said, he didn't perform well. It was Saka who set up the winning goal for Leandro Trossard. It was also Saka that did really well to win the corner that led to that winning goal for Trossard. You go back to the Man United game, it was Saka who set up the goal for Declan Rice. Then last night, scored the first goal, set up the second goal for Trossard. That's why for me, he plays. Whenever he's fit, he plays. It's just, he's that good. And yes, it'd be nice to have cover, proper recognised cover. And I do think there is some in the squad. But, when Saka's fit, he plays. He's that good. And I thought it was fantastic that he got that goal last night. Kai Havertz came in for Fabio Vieira. I talked myself out of it, didn't I? You saw it if you watched my show yesterday and I did my predicted 11. All week, I've been saying to myself, Havertz is going to start this one. And then the very last moment, I changed my mind and put Vieira in. And of course, Havertz started. So I wasn't surprised at all by that. And I thought he played well, actually. I thought this was Havertz's best performance for Arsenal, which was good. Mikel Arteta was speaking about him afterwards. He said he was very connected today in the game. It's true that I asked him to play in 2 different roles in regards to the opponent's behaviours. He's so intelligent the way he does it. It's just finishing 1 or 2 actions that we had again, but it's coming and he's so willing to do it. Yeah, he had a chance in the first half, didn't he? That he actually worked well, showed good feet to get it onto his right foot, but then he blazed it over, just snatched at it a little bit, which is, again, sign of a player who's struggling a little bit for confidence. But I thought his all-round performance was really, really good last night, whether it was being in that sort of number 8 role where he was initially, and then when he went into the sort of false 9 role after Gabriel Jesus went off. And you look at the play, leading up to Odegaard's goals, Havertz absolutely essential to that really good run. I thought he linked up the play well. He's shown some really clever touches. He did a really nice ball into Jesus, almost that Jesus put wide in the second half. And I think last night would have done Havertz's confidence a lot of good. I still think Vieira starts against Tottenham. I wasn't surprised Havertz came in for the Champions League game, but I think against Tottenham at the weekend, I think Fabio Vieira will come back into that team. But I do think that, it was a real confidence booster. Hopefully that for Kai Havertz, definitely his best performance so far for Arsenal. And, you could tell in the stadium, everyone was behind him. It's like the rubbish that you see spouted around. And obviously I know there's loads of negativity on social media and I see all the comments about it. People send them to me all the time about, why have Arsenal got Havertz, blah, blah, blah. But then you see some real ridiculous stuff in the media as well. I mean, I saw Stuart Robson did a piece or was speaking. It was on somewhere, I can't remember where it was, ESPN, I think, FC, and saying, the fans are booing him, which is utter rubbish. They're not. Not once has that happened this season. And last night, all the fans were behind him. You could tell they were desperate for him to score. They really were supportive of him. And that's what you need. And that's what he needs because he's a good player. He's got good qualities and he's still adjusting to life at Arsenal. But I thought that was a really positive performance for him yesterday and it will do him an awful lot of good. Okay, player ratings time now. Now, as you can imagine, he's going to be pretty good because it was a solid performance all round from Arsenal. David Raya got the nod once again for Aaron Ramsdale. I thought Ramsdale being goal, but I was wrong. David Raya got the nod and it was a really positive performance from Raya. A couple of misplaced passes, which I was surprised about, actually, because he's such a strong part of his game. His radar was a little bit off, I thought, in the second half in particular, but really comfortable. Any save he had to make, he saved it well. Just was really calm, really composed, dealt with everything really well that came into his box. On the whole, his passing was good. I thought it was a really good performance from David Raya, especially as all eyes would have been on him. It was a horrible night for the goalkeepers because it was biblical weather, so much rain. I mean, you saw the first goal that Saka scored after their keeper spilled Martin Odegaard's shot, but it was none of that from David Raya. He did everything really, really well in horrible conditions. So I gave David Raya an 8. Ben White was exceptional once again. He was booked, and I was wondering if Mikel might take him off pretty early in after he got that yellow card, but he didn't. Kept him on for a bit, and I thought he played really, really well, Ben White, so I gave him an 8. Saliba, absolutely brilliant. There was that point in that first half. Was it the first half? No, it was the second half where it looked like he was actually made a bit of a mistake and might be letting the PSV guy in, and then he just did that sort of step over, dropped his shoulder, and he was just away, and you had the whole crowd was just like, whoa, it was brilliant. It was Saliba at his very, very best, and just a Rolls Royce of a defender. What a defender he is, what a talent. So I gave him an 8. I thought Gabriel was really solid as well, up against Luke de Jong, who caused Arsenal a lot of problems, especially in the away game last season. Really physical, really good in the air, and I thought Gabriel properly outmuscled him a lot, and it was a really good performance from him. So I gave Gabriel, I gave an 8. Zinchenko, I gave a 7. Solid performance from Zinchenko as well. Good display from him. Declan Rice, excellent once again. Gave Declan Rice a 7. Kai Havertz, 7 for me. As I said, I thought it was a really positive performance from Kai. One of his, well, not one of his, I think it was his best performance so far in an Arsenal shirt. Odegaard, just an absolute joy. Just an absolute joy. You can't really get many better performances from that than that from a attacking midfielder, from a captain. He was just exceptional. So good. I don't know. There's not really much more I can say about him. He gets 9 man of the match for me. Gabriel Jesus pushed him close. I thought Jesus was fantastic when he was on the pitch. Really, really good. Deserved his goal. Took it really well. And so, yeah, he gets an 8 for me, and Trossard and Saka both get 8s as well. Trossard, what a player. What a player. It's just like you lose Martinelli and you can bring in Leandro Trossard. It just shows the strength and depth that Arsenal have. So I thought, yeah, really, really good. So, but Martin Odegaard gets my man of the match for me. The substitutes all came on. Smith Rowe, Tomiyasu, Jorginho, Vieira and Nelson. I thought they all did really, really well, actually. I mean, Jorginho came on and the game was won in midfield, but he did a couple of nice things. Smith Rowe and Nelson, I thought, combined really well down the left-hand side and caused PSV lots and lots of problems. Both of them could really, I mean, they had sights a goal. I thought Reece Nelson was one opportunity. I was really surprised he didn't take a shot when he was played in well, but obviously, I think it was Reece who set up the goal for Odegaard as well. The pair of them combining good strength from Smith Rowe in the build-up to that. So, yeah, both of those two can get a 7. Tomiyasu, I thought, played well. He gets a 7. Fabio Vieira, 7 as well. I thought he was really bright when he came on. So it was just a really good all-round performance from Arsenal. It just felt so nice to be back, didn't it? To just have the Champions League music back, to have everyone celebrating, and it's just what it's all about, really, isn't it? I'm just going to bring these pictures up again because they just feel really, really nice. It's just even before the game when you saw the pictures and the videos of Arsenal with the Champions League badges, you know, it just felt right, didn't it? We've waited an awful long time. Everyone's waited an awful long time to be involved in a night like that again. It felt absolutely brilliant to be back and to do it the way that Arsenal did and roll on the next group stage game in a couple of weeks. But now it's Tottenham on Sunday. Huge game. North London derby, first of the season. 2 sides unbeaten, level on points, 4 wins and a draw from their opening 5 games. Perfectly poised ahead of the first North London derby of the season. Right. Myself and James Benge are going to be getting together a little bit later on today for Inside Arsenal Extra Time. It's a little bit later this week. It's on Thursday rather than Tuesday because James was delayed, as you would have all known, on Tuesday, delayed at the airport. So we had to push it back till Thursday after the game. So if you've got any questions for myself or for James, any comments, opinions on what you've seen in the Champions League or ahead of the game against Spurs at the weekend, please do send them in. If you're watching on YouTube, put them in the comments below and we'll try and get through some of those in today's show. So keep an eye out for that. Should be being published around sort of 5 o'clock. Sort of 5:30 time later tonight. So keep your eyes peeled for Inside Arsenal Extra Time a little bit later. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you're at the game last night, I hope you've all dried out because that was crazy weather. And if you weren't and you've got it recorded, watch it again, enjoy the goals, soak it all up because Arsenal are back and they were back with a bang. Speak to you soon, everyone. Have a good day.